For this recipe, you'll need 3 tablespoons of warm water, 2.5 teaspoons of yeast, half a cup of melted butter, 1 tablespoon of vegetable oil, 1/3 cup of granulated white sugar, 3/4 cup of milk or evaporated milk, room temp, a dash of salt, 2 teaspoons of Mexican vanilla, 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, 2 large eggs at room temp, and 4 cups of flour. For the streusel on top, you'll need half a cup of butter softened, 2/3 cup of white sugar, a cup of flour, and a dash of vanilla. Let's proof our yeast. Warm water and yeast into the bowl. We're going to wait 5 minutes, and if it's foamy, it's activated and it's ready to go. Once it's proofed, we're going to throw all the ingredients into the bowl but the flour. When it comes down to putting in the eggs, do one at a time and whisk. And then add your other egg and whisk for additional 30 seconds. Alright guys, now we're going to add in our flour, all 4 at the same time. And then you're just going to go and mix this until you get a cohesive dough. And then you're going to want to turn it out onto a floured surface. When you're making this dough, it's going to be super soft. That's how you know it's going in the right direction. So try not to add any more flour to this dough. I know you might need to flour your work surface, or if it's too sticky, then do it at a tablespoon at a time. But if you add any more than 2 tablespoons, you might ruin your dough. So y'all just be careful with that. But just be very gentle with your dough and give it time. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I didn't add all 4 cups in right away, which I should have. It won't do nothing, but it doesn't have to come in parts. You could just add it in all at one time. But what I thought I did at this point in time was I thought I measured out my flour wrong, but I didn't, and I needed all my flour that I had in that 4 cups. I'm flouring my work surface, then I'm going to turn that dough out onto the counter, and I'm really going to work it in and make sure it's very soft and pliable. Now, remember what I said, try not to add any more flour at this point. Your dough might seem a little bit too sticky than what you're used to. I know when I made this a couple times, the first time I made this, I made the conchas too dense. The second time, they got better, but then the third time I made them, they were super soft. So y'all just be careful, and adding more flour will ruin this. So just be sweet to your dough and love on it, and just keep working it in and working it in. It's gonna be a super soft dough. It's gonna feel like you're working with nothing, like a cloud in your hand. If you touch your dough and it springs back, it's ready to go. So make sure you oil grease a bowl. I use my spray. Doesn't matter, just make sure it's greased so it's easier to come out. I'm going to cover it up with some plastic wrap and let it sit for about an hour. I think I'd have to say I've noticed that the recipe called for an hour, but I have noticed that I do let it sit out longer than that. Now we're going to get ready to shape our conchas. So I am going to flour just a little bit, just a sprinkle so it doesn't stick to my countertops. But now we're going to turn it out, and I'm going to take my little kitchen tool. I don't even know what to use this for. I use it to scrape the side of cakes to make it smoother. But I'm going to use it here to cut 12 as equal as pieces as I can into my dough. So you can make really big conchas if you wanted to, but this recipe does make 12. Now to shape the conchas. So I don't know a traditional way of doing this. I actually haven't seen anybody traditionally make these yet. All I like to do is take my triangle piece, I flatten it just a little bit, and I just roll it up. And then I squeeze it together like if you were prepping yeast rolls. And that's all I do. I just pinch the bottom close, make sure it's in a ball form, and I lay it on the baking tray. And I just do that to every single one of them. There they are, ready for their second rest time. And that's going to be about 30 minutes to an hour, just until they double in size. So let's get started on our streusel. We're going to put everybody into the bowl. And then I'm going to take a fork and just start working that butter into the flour and the sugar. Once it's worked in enough, I'm going to go in with my hands and do the rest of the work. And at this point, I will be adding in my coloring that I want for my concha. You can just leave them this, but I have seen traditionally that normally conchas are like, you could sprinkle in a tablespoon of cocoa powder. I'm using pink because I'm doing Valentine Day inspired conchas. But you could really color them any color you want. Green, blue, white, whatever your heart fancies. To finish up the topping, I am going to turn it out just so I can really get the pink food coloring incorporated. Like I said, traditional colors are pink and brown. That's normally what I've seen. There's probably some other colors, but I know you can make it whatever color you want, and you could do whatever design you want. It's more of like a fondant. They call it streusel or fondant, and it's really easy to create your own. I've seen some people, like I know there's one person that I've seen on Instagram. She has some awesome conchas. She's called the Concha Queen. Little shout out to her. She literally makes designs on top of her conchas. She makes them tie-dyed, like whatever you want. So I was kind of inspired by her after looking at her page, And here I am making hearts with a cookie cutter. And I'm going to go in with various sizes to get the design I want. So, make sure you flour your surface so this doesn't stick. It will stick very easy. It's very sticky, so work fast so your butter doesn't start to melt. But I'm making my design, and then I'm just going to lay it on top of my concha. This is the sweetest part of the concha. I do have to say that the actual bread part is not that sweet, even though it has sugar in it. But this is the part that is like the bomb.com. I do want to add that you can add your topping right after you've finished rolling out your conchas, or you can do it right before you throw them into the oven. I did mine the other way around. I did them right before I threw them into the oven. Normally I do it while they're proofing for the second time, but either will work just fine. Make sure you set your oven to 350 and cook these for 17 to 20 minutes. These are how they turned out. They were so yummy. My husband came straight home and ate one. But they look so beautiful and ready for V-Day. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss another video like this one.